Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move forward to item number G, City Manager's Comments Update on City Operations. Mr. Olson? Mrs. Thorpe. Oh,
Thank you, Mayor. As I mentioned before, I was just fine when I left work yesterday, and by the time I got to bed last night, my head was plugged and my throat was clogging, and I'm sure it's an allergy, and I'm going to blame it on the red tide. And speaking of that, my first report is on the red tide today. Uh, we've had the red tide impacting our beaches and bay for 2 or 3 weeks now, maybe give or take a little bit. Recently, our city crews along the bay from North Beach to Cooper's Alley and the barge dock have by hand collected 32 tons of dead fish. 32 tons of dead fish. And that's one of those invisible services that people don't think about, they don't see. It's not like patching a road or fixing a water line. It's one of those kind of services that we provide when we need to that means a lot to people. Hopefully, this red tide bloom will subside as the weather starts to cool and be gone. But it has its impacts while it's here. I think it has an impact on my voice, and it has an impact on our bay and on our beaches while it's here. I also wanted to mention the Emergency Operations Center activation, which took place over the past weekend. The city follows the National Incident Management System process, which provides a consistent way of managing emergency operations across the entire nation. Not only governments respond to emergencies using this system, but many hospitals have adopted it, many private companies have adopted it, and it's just a really good system for managing disasters. So in Corpus Christi, we've spent a lot of time training our people, practicing, getting our emergency operations folks, which includes police and fire, but it also includes a lot of public works operations too, because nearly every disaster that has to be managed has a tremendous impact on our streets, our garbage collection, our brush collection, etc. So all of these departments need to work together when there's an emergency that happens. We take every opportunity to practice. And so with the storm that came through this last weekend, which thank goodness was not as serious as many thought it might be, we had activated the Emergency Operations Center at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, and it stayed in operation until Sunday afternoon. There were only minor incidents that occurred throughout the city. No major harm was done to property or life, thank goodness. But our system was ready, and we got to practice it a little bit. So I hope it doesn't happen, but if we ever get a real emergency that we have to deal with, I have great confidence in our staff, in our fire department that manages it generally, and in all of the staff that supports it, which is broad across the entire city. The final thing I wanted to mention is the Fitness Council. The Mayor's Fitness Council is going to host a Kites and Bikes Festival. This will be on November the 7th, which is a Saturday, and it will go from 11 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening. There will be stunt, kite, flying demonstrations, fitness activities for the family, a farmer's market, bicycle safety demonstrations, and various kinds of giveaways. So it should be a good activity. I just wanted to make the council and the public aware that that's coming. And with those 3 announcements, that will conclude my comments for today. Maybe for the entire day, I'm not sure.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. I will tell you that when I went to one of the meetings when we were with the EOC, when it was activated, and Billy Delgado's team, it just keeps on getting better and better in the cooperation, and also with Nueces County and even the outer line, within many of the other agencies and organizations, and with nonprofits and with industry. And so I have to really, we're ready. And we have a really top-notch operation, and I have a lot of confidence in them, and also all of the partnerships that we have within the Coastal Bend, that, God forbid something happen on a weather event, but we have the best that's here to protect our citizens.
By definition, a disaster is an event that exceeds your resources and your ability to respond. Someday we're going to have to deal with a disaster that is bigger than our ability. But we've built our capacity, okay? And it's going to take a bigger and bigger and bigger event in order to overwhelm us, because we're better prepared for it. And I will also mention, I had a brief meeting yesterday with some executives from the AEP, and they have adopted the National Incident Management System and gone through extensive training. And Mr. Delgado has acted in cooperation with them to teach them what he knows about the city and NIMS operations, and it's been a very cooperative relationship.
Thank you, Chief, our Fire Chief, Robert Rocha. You have a great team. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Olson. We're going to go to item number H, minutes.